You're listening to the 5-Minute Friday podcast episode of The Aligned Self. This is your host, Daniel J-N-O-V. Okay, 5-Minute Friday, a short and concise podcast episode of The Aligned Self, designed to leave you with a question, an idea, a strategy, a tip, a hack, in order to give you greater access to your conscious awareness, evolving your conscious awareness, or give you greater mastery over your mind. Now, over the last 2 episodes, you've probably been aware, since you've been listening, that we've talked a great deal about the power of gratitude. And I just thought it would be a natural thing to continue the conversation in this 5-Minute Friday, to expand on the concept and offer you a different perspective over and above what you may already know about. Now, most people know that it's fairly easy to express gratitude for those things that are pleasing, that are amazing. Someone hands you $10,000. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Someone gives you a gift. You land a new promotion, something positive, and you can say, thank you very much. That's like a slam dunk, meaning that it is easy to see why you would be appreciative of such a thing or circumstance. It seems reasonable that we would be appreciative of these, this bounty, these amazing things that just stumbled or fell into our lap. But in the context of law of attraction, we want to show up in the world as unreasonable, unconditional, where we can express our wants, our needs, and master our vibration, regardless of what may show up in our path. Meaning that if we only give thanks, or if we're only appreciative of those things that show up in our life that are favorable, that means that our appreciation is conditional, and our vibration is at the mercy of outside events. When good things happen, then we're riding high. When not so good things happen, not so much. But as the master of your destiny, the captain of your ship, it's important that you get to choose how you respond to life, how you respond to when things show up. And as a human being, we naturally experience duality. So we can take notice and be aware of the contrast that shows up. So we are actually at a point where we can make a choice, and specifically choose our response to life, exercising our response ability. And when we take on 100% responsibility for our life, then we can become the master of our domain. We can become the master of our reality. Now, if I've had one gift handed to me in this lifetime, it's been my ability to see the lesson in virtually everything that shows up in my life. Not only from my perspective, but when I see other people making mistakes or succeeding, I can learn the lesson from their example and apply it to my own life. See, I've been on the planet long enough now where I can look back over several decades and see how when certain events showed up that were less than amazing at the time, downright challenging at the time, I can see how they actually set me up for something even more amazing, more fantastic to show up. And I can now appreciate when there's a setback and know that there's something better coming along my way. Something more amazing, more fantastic, more phenomenal than I could have imagined on the front end of that experience. Now, when you can view life from that perspective, through that lens, there's a couple beliefs that are there that get reinforced every time you can reframe a situation, turn it into something good. One is that the universe is always working out for you. Life is always working out for you. The universe has your back. Anytime you set out an intention, the angels are conspiring to make it a reality. Another belief that shows up is that there are no such things as denials. certainly delays, but you'll never be denied as long as you're consistent and persistent in accepting the third belief that there is no such thing as failure, only feedback. So when things don't work out your way, when an intention or a manifestation shows up that you don't really like, you can use that as feedback and take a look at what is my vibration? How was I being? What was my belief about this that drew this experience into my life? And then you're appreciative of the opportunity to make a new choice, to course correct. You see, so many of us hold back from starting or beginning or same thing, right? Of moving forward on a dream, on an intention, on a project, because in the back of our mind, we don't want to fail. We don't want to be upset. We don't want to be rejected. But when you think about it, everything is working out for you. Even the rejections and the disappointments can be looked upon as a course correction, as feedback to begin again more intelligently. Now, most of you drive automobiles or vehicles of some shape or form. And what you need to understand, and I'm sure you understand, is that as you're driving down the road, you are constantly course correcting minute little adjustments in order to keep the vehicle on the road. In fact, you're probably off course more often than you are on course, yet you still make it to your destination. If for some reason you start drifting towards the ditch or the median and you realize it, you can gently pull the wheel back on the road and keep the vehicle traveling towards your destination. Now, I have to say, if you ever found yourself drifting towards the ditch, it's unlikely that you would say, just screw it, I'm heading for the ditch. Oh no, it'll never work. No, you course correct. You use that feedback to adjust your course. So in the context of gratitude, the question I want you to ask is when something comes up that seemingly is disappointing, on the face of it, you ask the question, how does this serve me? What does this now make possible? And admittedly, sometimes that information is not readily available, and it is only when you can get some distance on it and look back on it where you can glean the lesson, you can see how this actually was for your benefit. And even if you've had experiences, and I suggest you go back and recount at least 5 different experiences in your past that were less than amazing, less than favorable, in your opinion at the time. And then as you review them from the context that everything is working out for you, that there is only attraction, and in some way you attracted this experience to you for your own education and edification. And then ask the question, how did this make me a better human? How did this inform me about life? What did this make possible that wouldn't have been possible on the front end of this relationship, this circumstance, this event? And I understand that some of us have experienced trauma in our past. In fact, in our journey as a human being, most everyone has events that are considered traumatic. And we can sit in the point of view that this stuff happened to us rather than it happened for us. And I will definitely spend more time and dive deeper on the whole concept of trauma and how we can heal trauma. But to understand really simply, we always have a choice that we can hang on to the story of how we were hurt, how we were damaged, and use that to explain why we are where we are today. Or we can have the story of our healing and our triumph over what happened or what we went through. We can't have both. You can either have the story of pain or you can have the story of triumph. You get to choose. So an appreciative response to a traumatic past might be something like this. Thank goodness I went through what I went through as a child. I would have never chosen it on the front end. But having gone through it, it set me up to be more compassionate, more understanding of the human condition. It informed me what love was not, and has actually made available a greater capacity for me to love more deeply and more unconditionally, because I've seen the downside of it. So I appreciate that experience for how it made me a better person today. Now, I do have a lot more to say about this, but this is a 5-Minute Friday, which is always 5 to 10 minutes. And I do dive deeper in this inside my course, Rewire Your Brain for Abundance, where I teach you how to reframe life, reframe circumstances to where everything works for you. And to learn more, you can go to yesdaniel.com, check out the membership vault, check out the course. If there's nothing readily available there at the time that you're listening to this podcast, it will be in a day or two. But in the meantime, turn it into something good. This is your host, Daniel Dano V, urging you to follow your bliss, live your life from inner signals, and by all means, live the epic life.